what I'm trying to tell you is that we have to do it differently. So here's the part that I want you to see. It says, let me just read this to you, then we're going to read on out. It says, and as for me, when I came to Padan, Rachel died unto me in the land of Canaan in a way when there was still some way to come to Ephrat. And I buried her there in the way to Ephrat. The same is Beit Lechem. Someone had my book at some point, and they wrote in my book, I don't know why they were writing in my book, but they wrote no connection and a question mark. I don't know who wrote in my book, but let me tell you the connection of why he began to talk about Rachel. That was Joseph's mother. All right, now, he was explaining what happened with your mother. And now I didn't have any more opportunity to have any more children with your mother. These are mine through her. Now I got 4 kids with her. See, my glasses fell out. Thank you. We have to see how gracious God is. That he thought that was all over. And here he was, come to see his son and his son's sons. Moved him to the place that he said, those can't be yours, those are mine. Come here. Those are mine. He said, now bring them to me so I can bless them. So he brought them to him. Let me tell you how the account went. He says, and Joseph said, these are my sons whom God has given me here. And he said, bring them, I pray thee unto me, and I will bless them. Now it says, now the eyes of Yishmael were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them, and he embraced them. And Yishmael said to Joseph, I had thought not to see thy face. Lo, God hath let me see thy seed also. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he fell down on his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Yishmael's left, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Yishmael's right. And he brought them near unto him. And Yishmael stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger. And his left hand he put upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, the God before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak did walk, the God whom hath been my shepherd all my life unto this day, and the angel who hath redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named in them in the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father was laying his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. And he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's hand unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, no, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused. And he said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. Howbeit his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, by thee shall Yisrael bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yisrael said unto Joseph, behold, I die, but God will be with you and bring you back into the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. So now, here's the thing that I want to recall to your memory. Here's Yaakov about to bless his grandsons, and he's going blind. Familiar? A few weeks ago, he was in the same room with his father, who had gone blind. This is what I want to tell you. Our father, Yitzchak, went blind. Remember how Cohen saying, He went blind because he wouldn't see what he had been told, what had been in front of his face. He went blind because God had it that Jacob would get the blessing. And Isaac, our father, was determined to bless Esau. Not because of anything else, but he looked at Esau and thought Esau had a better chance of protecting that seed because Esau was tough. Yeah, he was tough. Jacob liked to read. People think because Jacob liked to read and because Jacob liked to cook, that meant he couldn't fight. Wrong. You realize that these boys were 15 years old when their grandfather Abraham died, right? And Abraham had a whole army of trained men. Do you think that Yitzchak and Esau and Yaakov didn't have to go through training? Do you think that they were just lay around loafers? And Abraham went to war. Abraham didn't send men to war. Abraham went to war. I want you to get back to how this went now, because sometimes we skim over stuff. So when it came time for these things to happen, you think Abraham, a man of war, was going to allow his house? It said, and God blessed Abraham because he knew that what? Abraham would do what? Command his house. It all comes together. It all comes together. So here it was. And you read when our father Yaakov went out there and the whole story with Raquel, and she came to the well and had her picture, and he ran and he saw her, and the men said, we all get together, all of us get together and roll the big rock away from the mouth of the well so that they can drink. This is what we do. When he saw Raquel coming, she was fine. Lord have mercy, she was fine. Jacob saw, he jumped up with his, he must have been close to 70 or something by then. He jumped up, pushed the rock. Here, my dear. Here, water you fluff. Yeah. You know, guess what? Raquel was impressed. She was like, ooh, Lord, look at her. Oh, the muscles. She liked it. What I'm telling you, our father Jacob was not weak, but there was a thing about his attitude about fighting. What does that tell you? You don't have to have an attitude to fight all the time. You can be at peace and be peaceable and still not be a pushover. Sometimes we think in order to be manly, you got to be running around talking about how tough you are all the time. You ain't got to do that. Just be tough when tough time happens. Because a lot of times people who talk tough ain't tough when tough time happens. Right? They talk tough. I say, you know, they said there was this president named Roosevelt. I think it was Roosevelt. And his motto was walk soft and carry a big stick. In other words, don't bluster up. Don't sell wolf tickets. But when the fight goes down, bust them in the head. I was right. I see it. Yeah. Got my history going on. What I'm telling you now is that in this case, Yaakov was blind, and his son Joseph, who was fully sighted, couldn't see. what you need to know is that you got to follow the will of God. And sometimes when you're trying to follow your own will, you get in the way of the blessing of the Most High God. I don't know if you're hearing it. One was blind because he couldn't see it when it was told him. Now this one is blind and he sees perfectly. And the one who has sight can't see because they're trying to do things in their own way and they're not trying to follow after the course of the living God. It don't matter what you see. It has to be what he sees and what he demands. And you have to have your mind and your ear open to hear it. You know, my mother tells us all the time, she used to say, you know, God hasn't stopped talking. We just stopped listening. So you got to listen out for the word of God. You got to listen out for the blessing. You got to listen. That's why God told you to have to honor the hoary head and to listen to them and to pay attention to them because they've lived lives and they've been places that you have yet to go. But you think you know more. Got a young man on my job, and I said, boy, come here. He said, boy. Yeah, I didn't mean no harm. I couldn't remember his name. I said, boy, come here. And do you know? He said, boy. I said, I meant no offense. I said, how old are you? He said, I am 23. And I looked at him, I laughed, and he said, why are you laughing? He said, I'm 23.
Was he black or white? No, because if you call a black person that, they think you are...
I get you, Emo, but he knew I wasn't trying to disrespect him on that level. But he was just asserting his manhood. I'm 23. Soon to be 24. And I looked at him. I said, that's so cute. I said, you know, and this is a true story. These pants I got on right here, Mo made them. They are over 20 years old. Right? They're good pants. I told him, boy, I got socks older than you. You talking about you 23. So what? And he looked at me and laughed and it started a whole conversation in the room. And everybody got the point. And so even the younger guys were saying, you know what? He right. Said he told us things and we told him he was wrong and he was right. Said just like you don't want to listen to him. Our whole conversation. So his new name at the job is 23. That's what everybody calls him. He's 23. Right? My point is that we have to be willing to hear the word when it comes to you. You cannot think yourself too grown to hear the word when it comes to you. Because you will miss the word of God. Thinking that your own mindset and your own process is the one that should lead you. How I wish my father was alive today. Sometimes I run into problems and I'm like, Abba, I know you would know what to do. I'm lost right now. I wish. And the older I get, the more I wish he was here. Because I realize now. So it's not too late for you young people. Pay attention. Always be looking for God to speak to you. Pay attention to what your elders are telling you. You don't need to go through life and fall in holes that's unnecessary for you to fall in. The whole point of having elders is so they can guide you around the holes so you don't have to fall. Well, I learned better from my own personal experiences. Are you trying to sound intelligent? Because I need for you to know that's not intelligent. That is called dumb. Well, you know, I don't know what it's like to be shot, but, you know, let me go out here, let me get shot so I can see how that feels, so I can talk about it intelligently. Just because you said that, just let me know. Your intelligence is okay. You have to see that it is designed this way. And the moment you want to get outside the design of God, you have left perfection. Do you get it? I pray that the Most High God would let us see. There's mothers in this room. I ain't going to call their name because they go, I don't remember that. They look at me. I don't remember that. They remember. They trying to be polite. Get into conversations. And I guarantee I was at least 40. And in the middle of the conversation, they looked at me and said, shut up. Now, that could have went a couple of ways. Stupidity could have taken it over, and I could have told somebody how I was 40 years old. But I thank God that I wasn't offended by shut up at 40, because they was close to 70 or 80 or wherever they was way beyond me. Shut up. Hear the word. It could save your life. This portion now has our Father Yaakov about to bless his sons. And he goes through this whole litany of the blessing. And I'm going to read the blessing.
Yes, take your time.
I'm going to read this blessing and then we're going to be done for the day. But I want you to recognize what this is all about. This is about the passing of the blessing of God from parent to child.
Yes.
And if you are in a place where you don't want to be the child who is in the recipient of the blessing because you think that you're already grown. Then you figure out, when you're trying to figure out how to feed your children, and times are hard, then you want to go back to Ema and Abba. But you didn't want to do what they told you in order not to get in the problem in the first place. I know this ain't one of them lectures that y'all want to hear, but that's okay. This is what it is. This is what the message of the portion is today. You have to pay attention. You have to see it and understand it. Oh, by the way, and it don't just include your mama or your Abba. That's not the way this works either. That's not a part of our scheme at all. Teach. Well, you ain't my mother. That's right. I said it just like y'all say. You know, you ain't my